All right, what's happening, everybody? Welcome back to another video. I know I haven't uploaded anything in a long time, and hopefully that will not be the case from now on. Welcome back to another video. Welcome back to my channel. And in this channel, we discuss everything about front-end development and web development in general. Hopefully, I'll be more consistent in uploading more videos, specifically about Chakra. And also, I'll be hopefully making more videos about how to become an actual software developer, the career shift that I've made, and more tips and tricks on how to act once you have got the job. So if you're interested in that, give this channel a subscribe and give the video a like if you actually like it, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. With that out of the way, let's get started. Today we are talking about the input group feature in Chakra-ui. So you can see this is what I mean by the input group, and this is kind of like a design pattern that you can find in many places in the internet now. It's a really nice experience for the user. Sometimes it's being used where you have like an URL input like this, and then here you can do www.google and then .com is like kind of like given for you. So it's kind of like some parts of the input are always static, they don't change, and the other parts you want the user to actually kind of fill it in. The same thing happens with mobile number. So this is mobile number, so you can do +61, which is Australian code, that's always going to be there, and so on. Email address, this is kind of like in a use case where you can just give it an icon to make sure that kind of signify to the user that you want to put here their email address. The same thing happens for password. And there are two styles of doing this in Chakra-ui. There is this style, and this style is basically the add-on, and the other style, which is kind of like inside of the input itself, which is the element. So you can imagine this being an add-on to the input, while this is an element inside of the input. And you can use it in the same way as well. And I'm sure you've seen this pattern in many places where there is another icon here to show the password once you have entered it, and you can implement the same thing here as well. Now, if you want to do this on your own without Chakra-ui, it's quite involved, to be honest, because you need to have that input as a flex container and then put everything else inside of it. But today I'll show you how easy it is to do this with Chakra-ui. Enough with the chitty chatter, and let's get started. Cool. So right now we have this empty page here that has nothing on it, but exactly what we're talking about today. And let's start with the first example there, which was the URL, right? So the URL input. So the first thing to do when you're working with any group of these, any of these examples, you need an input group component. And the input group component is kind of like the container that tells Chakra-ui that you need a group there. And then inside there, you decide what kind of group that you want. So we start with the first one, which is going to be the add-on one. So this is the first one we will go say, and then we need here an input lift add-on. There are different ways to render this, so you can actually render it this way. You can kind of like close this tag, and then inside there you can put HTTPS, for example. There's no need for these, right? Yeah, that's right. HTTPS, and this will work, and then you follow that up with an input there, just an input component there, and then oopsie, and then input component there, and then that input component will have a type of string in this case. Type of string? I believe so, yeah. So let's try that. So that works this way, and this is where you can change things like, is it type string or text? I think it's type text string. Oh my God, too much TypeScript, too much thinking in TypeScript. So type here is text, I believe, that's right. Okay, so that's how you get this kind of like add-on on the left-hand side. And then you can also do the same thing with an add-on on the right-hand side. And before we go to there, you can also, I think it's shorter and better, you can simply just pass children prop here. So you can pass children prop there, and that children prop is going to be the same thing, HTTPS, with the slashes on there. It's the same exact outcome. The other component that you can use inside of the input group is the input right add-on, which is self-explanatory there. Again, I will use the children pattern here. So you can add children there, and that children here in this case is going to be .com. And with this, you kind of like, you can imagine how you can compose that group in whatever way that you want. You can add something to the left-hand side, we got something to the right-hand side. And then also, just to keep in mind, this input group actually takes up the size prop from the inputs as well. So you can make it medium, small, or extra small and so on, and that will change the size of the input as well, which is really, really sick, to be honest. Like the way you can do this so easily in Chakra-ui now is extremely, extremely, extremely cool. So this is the first example where you can have add-ons on each side. You can do the same thing also with, like, I think this is a very popular pattern, which is the pattern for to use the same thing for mobile phones inputs. So you can do this here, but instead of having this children be HTTPS, you can add country code here right away, like this. And in most cases, actually, this will be like a flag drop down, in which you can actually do as well here in Chakra. This will be an input of type tell, and then also, there's no need to add the name. There's no, not really a use case there because there's no form, but yeah, that will also work right there, where you can get the customer to add a phone number whatsoever, and then you can add more formatting things to it as well. Another use case that you can use here is also to kind of signify to the customer the type of this input or what is expected from the customer to put in there. To do this, let's try another example where we can have an email icon here, for example, like this. So this is an email icon, and the type here is going to be email. And then we can also, if you want to be a little bit more fancy, we can do here email address. So with the placeholder, actually looks really cool. Now, once you add the placeholder, it pops up right there. So this is the first way you can do this, and this is called the lift add-on, right? So this is the left add-on and the right add-on, and they are actually add-ons because they kind of like sit outside of the content, outside of the input. And the second way you can do this is the left element, which actually lives inside of the input. So let's try that. Let's paste whatever we had here. And before we move there, we can actually just make a divider there, just to make sure that things look decent. So once I add that divider, hopefully it will show up there. So you can see that divider just to make sure that we can separate them a little bit. And then instead of using the input left add-on, I can use the input left element right there. This you can save it like that, and you can use it like that, obviously. But most of the time, these add-ons are usually the are icons actually. So you can use the phone icon here. It actually looks really cool. So this is an input that is expecting a phone number. It's great. I think it's a very good kind of like pattern and design that people are getting used to now, and it's a good communication to the customer as well. And you can do the same thing here with that email field, and you can use another icon there, which is called @ icon. So that's the @. I think this is the best, to be honest, for me. When you're having like a login form or something, this looks really cool. This is maybe a little bit too much, but this looks really, really cool. The last example here is where you can actually use the same thing for password. I believe there is a lock icon there, and here you can have this type of password, right? And the other thing you can do is also you can do input right element right there, and then for that you can use the view icon, I believe, which we can use it like so. I believe it's the view icon. Oopsie, view icon like this, right? And then obviously you can add some logic. Once you click onto that view icon, this will show the password inside. And I'm not gonna go ahead and do that logic. It's actually really, really simple. That's it. I'm gonna keep this video short and sweet. Today we've discussed how you can use this input group idea in Chakra-ui, which you can add add-ons or elements to the input in Chakra-ui. Always remember that these groups are actually carrying over the definition of the rest of the props from the input, so you can add size to it. I don't know if you can add a variant to it. Let's try that. Yeah, you can, which is great. So you can have it outlined like this, and you'll see this is not going to change much, I believe. Yeah, it will. Okay, so far so good. And then you can have it flushed, I believe. The other one is called flushed. Yeah, that's right. So you can change the way it looks as well, and it applies to everything that's inside there. I guess this is looking terrible because of the size, but yeah, just keep in mind that the input group is actually almost like an input, but it controls everything that you have put in the group, which is actually really, really, really cool. That's it for today. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. If you have any questions, just leave it in the comments below, and I'm going to leave the sandbox URL in the description. Thank you guys. I will see you in the next one.